and welcome to my channel. You're watching Your Cat Plays. I'm Purple's Perfect.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. C'est payé, balayé, oublié. Je me fous du passé. Avec mes souvenirs, j'ai allumé le feu. Mes chagrins, mes plaisirs, je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours. Je repars à zéro. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien, car ma vie, car mes joies, aujourd'hui, ça commence avec toi.
Yes. You know it.
Thank you very much. All right, I spent the last 2 days since I've arrived racking my brain how to squeeze a 4-hour presentation into 2 hours. It has not been easy. So I'm going to go through this at a pace, not because I want to confuse you or myself, but I feel like if I leave anything out, I feel like I'm robbing you of valuable content. And you know, what do you leave out of something that's a work in progress that started out 8 years ago with a small little presentation and now consists of volumes and volumes of research and discovery that is, I for one, certainly did not expect to happen to me. So let's kick off. The history of our planet is far more mysterious and stranger than most of us will ever realize, and just by talking to the people here, it becomes very evident. The more people you talk to at this conference, the more evident it becomes. And the interesting thing is that the closer you get to this beautiful blue planet, the more you realize how deeply divided we are as a species. And it's that division, very constructively created division, that is being used against ourselves. And this becomes very evident by the end of my presentation. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The great human puzzle. Who are we? Where do we come from? Why are we here? Everyone has asked those questions, the three holy trinity questions, if you can call them that. That sounds so simple. We should have all these answers at our fingertips, and yet we can't, define these answers with any kind of confidence, because every time we think we've reached some sort of answer, everything shifts and changes and sends us in a completely different direction. And I normally have a lot more slides here to go into much more detail, but I edited those out. Sound and resonance seem to be the common denominators of religion and creation. No matter how far back you go, no matter how many civilizations you look at, eventually, if you scratch deep enough, that's what you're going to find. Sound, resonance, frequency, but primordially the sound. And it also somehow connects us to opening us to understanding higher levels of consciousness. And that becomes very important as we go through this presentation. In Christianity, it's the word. God said, let there be light. Okay, let's not get into the semantics. Yes, that we can define that in various ways, but let's look at the basic stuff that we're dealing with here. The word. First there was the word. In Hinduism we got the Om, the primordial creative source. The Egyptians sang the universe into creation. All comes to sound. And it gets more interesting as you look at some of the more bizarre and ancient cultures. And you can see this, how these days of creation and the sound of creation is manifested in some of the symbology used in sacred geometry. For example, Christianity can be very quickly described with sacred geometric principles. And you realize that the creator of the universe is not some guy with a white beard sitting on a cloud. You know, that's just complete fairy tale stuff and very distinct part of the control system of humanity. That division principle plays itself out in that philosophy. 6 aspects of Om, or the Om Mani Padme Hum. You see sound frequencies related to the creation process. And in Egyptology, the 6 aspects of the all-seeing eye of Horus. And when you see this, you realize that we're dealing with sound, 6 resonance ratios, all to do with sound frequencies. So sound plays a very important role, and one of the lesser known statements or thought patterns of Nikola Tesla that a lot of people seem to miss is that Nikola Tesla said that the earth rings like a bell. It's continuously ringing like a bell. And if you know how to use this primordial source sound frequency of Mother Earth, you'll know how to convert it into an unlimited source of energy. And I believe that's what he really did. What he did with it up at the top of the tower remains a mystery to most of us, and we all trying to emulate that. But I believe that he was talking about the sound of Gaia, an unlimited free source of energy. And this plays a very important part in all of creation, in all ancient cultures, in all the belief systems. And I believe Tesla used this to do whatever he did to create this free energy that we're all trying to emulate. But what is sound? What is sound? Because we think that sound is just something that travels at a finite speed. Well, that's been busted now, because in Tennessee, you studied in Tennessee, didn't you, Brooks? At the Middle State Tennessee University in 2005, there were 3 high school students and 2 undergraduates that proved that sound travels beyond the speed of light. I'm not going to go into that, but that's an interesting thing to contemplate. That's one of the best kept secrets of science and physics. Never made it into the mainstream news bulletins. Sound boils water. This is a guy called Peter Davey in New Zealand. Since 1940, this guy's been boiling water with sound frequency. It's not complicated, because everything has a resonance. Everything in creation and in physical form has its own fundamental resonant frequencies. If we understand the resonance and the sound behind the resonance, we can do everything. Because if sound created the universe and all things in it, because that was done by God, then we should be able to use sound to do everything else.
A 92-year-old Christchurch inventor claims to have come up with a novel way to make a cup of tea. He's invented a contraption that he claims uses the power of sound to boil water. Beverly Lockhart went to investigate.
It looks like a desk lamp, is cool to the touch and appears to be doing nothing until it comes into contact with water. 92-year-old former Spitfire pilot Peter Davey claims his invention uses the power of sound to boil water.
Yes, there's a devil how it works. Nobody really knows how it works.
Davey believes high-frequency sonic vibrations emitted from within the silver bulb cause the water to boil. He says the idea came to him 50 years ago when he noticed different saxophone notes caused different household items to rattle. The mains-powered gizmo has experts intrigued.
Never seen anything like it in my life, as they say.
Professor Williamson has his doubts about Davy's acoustic theory and suspects there are two simple electrodes inside the boiler.
It's the conductivity of the water that provides the path for the current and provides the resistance to give the heating.
I'm careful that I don't divulge everything. I'm waiting to get a manufacturer that's prepared to put some money into it.
And if he does get it on the shelves, he's already got one interested customer.
If I saw one in the shop, I'd buy one, because I think they're an interesting little bit of technology, however it is they work.
But for now, Davy is savouring his gizmo's success and sticking to his own unique theory on how it works. Beverly Lockhart, 3 News.
And in there lies the problem. He's dead. He took his secret to his grave. We will never find out until we go there, try and wrestle it out of his family to share the secret with the rest of the world. I can't believe that in all of the world of science and the the amazing laboratories that we have, there haven't been some scientists that have reverse engineered this or figured this out. Can't be that difficult. It's a resonant harmonic frequency of boiling water. Reverse engineer it. Measure the resonant harmonic frequency of boiling water and build the device. I don't have the laboratory to do it, but I've asked so many people to go out and do it, and no one's done it. So, but what we learn from this experience is we're here at this conference talking about free energy. I believe free energy means free to the world, not just free that we can suck it out of the vacuum and then sell it to the rest of the world. That's no longer free energy. I believe it's crucial that we start thinking about free energy as when you find it, like this guy, give it to the world for free. Because if you don't, they're going to get to you, they're going to get rid of you, and no one's going to get it. They were waiting. I can imagine what they did when Peter Davy died. They breathed a sigh of relief. So, oh, thank God he's gone. And he was too greedy to tell the world how the simple thing worked. Thank God this human greed gene is so powerful that it prevents people from sharing this beautiful stuff. That's what I have a problem with. So what I urge anyone here at this conference to do, if you do find something like this, a source of free energy, do not keep it to yourself. Do not try and gain from the rest of humanity. Put it on the internet, make videos, put it out as widely as you can, share it for free with the world. It'll come back to you in abundance that you can't imagine. Sound levitates. All ancient cultures talk about levitating things with sound. Not just sound, but also with mind and thought. Now, we hear about it all the time, but until you see something being levitated by sound, it's difficult to comprehend. Here's a beautiful example. Most of the stuff exists on YouTube, but we don't go looking for it. So, notice that you can hear the sound frequencies because the items they're levitating are very light. Remember, the higher the frequency, the higher the energy. So these polystyrene items are very light, so the frequency is lower frequency that's audible to our ears. So when you try to levitate giant blocks, you would need very high frequencies that you can't hear, and then it looks like magic. Also note that the sound source comes from 2 different sound sources, and it seems to levitate it at the cross point, the crossroad of the sound frequency. We're dealing with hundreds of thousands, probably millions of years of erosion.
I know of no one who has ever made this claim before, but I rather suspect that my experience is not.
The
things that I'm going to tell you about today are horrendous, but the flip side of it is some of the things that the New World Order and the Illuminati know, if they were put to good use, would be fantastic. But if you saw what I've seen, it would make you angry that these people are taking what could be used for the elevation.
Il arrive en courant derrière moi. Padam, padam, padam. Il me fait le coup du souviens-toi. Padam, padam, padam. C'est un air qui me montre du doigt. Et je traîne après moi comme une drôle d'air. Cet air qui sait tout par cœur. Il dit rappelle-toi tes amours. Rappelle-toi puisque c'est ton tour. y a pas de raison pour que tu ne pleures pas, avec tes souvenirs sur les bras. Et moi, je revois ce qui reste, mes 20 ans font battre un tambour. Je vois s'entrebattre des gestes, toute la comédie des amours sur cette air qui va toujours. Padam, 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 des je t'aime de 14 juillet. Padam, 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 des toujours qu'on achète au rabais. Padam, padam, padam,
We're gathered here
des
today
veux-tu en
to
voilà
focus on
par
some
un
of the ills of the
paquet.
country, the
Et tout
world,
ça pour
and the
tomber
media,
juste au coin
and the
de
real
la
story
rue.
behind what's really going on. I call this speech, What Really Is the Matrix? Because so many things in the Matrix are so strikingly similar to what we are
Écoutez le
experiencing
chahut qu'il
today. You're
me
about to embark on a
fait,
remarkable journey that some of you are not ready for. In the general idea of the Matrix,
comme si tout
the
mon
characters
passé
live in an illusion.
défilait.
A lie has been pulled over their eyes to blind them from truth. The truth that they are slaves to a system that they cannot see, taste, touch, or even smell. And as this day unfolds, you will see that our lives are not very far from those of the characters inside the Matrix. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your red pill. I start this evening with the events of September 11th, 2008.
Ciel de Paris s'envole une chanson. Elle est née d'aujourd'hui dans le cœur d'un garçon.
Her letter and his original handwritten notes, and they were only off by a couple words. So he was literally able to read the letter that she wrote, word for word, dictated out loud. Thomas Garrett wrote.
Leur bonheur se construit sur un air fait pour eux. Sous le pont de Bercy, un philosophe assis, de musiciens, quelques badauds, puis des gens par milliers. Sous le ciel de Paris jusqu'au soir vont chanter l'hymne d'un peuple épris de sa vieille cité. Près de Notre-Dame, parfois couvre un drame, oui mais à Paname, tout peut s'arranger. Quelques rayons du ciel d'été, l'accordéon d'un marinier, l'espoir fleurit au ciel de Paris. Le ciel de Paris coule un fleuve joyeux. Et on dort dans la nuit les clochards et les gueux. Le ciel de Paris, les oiseaux du bon Dieu.
see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed days, dark sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, say, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Well, don't we all love that?
The most well-known and prototypical of these creation stories comes from the Bible. In the first book of the Bible, God creates the universe, earth, animals, and humanity in 6 days, resting on the seventh day. The first two humans, named Adam and Eve, were given a paradisical land called the Garden of Eden. There was at this point a character called the serpent, who was unambiguously described as the image of God, frequently eating the fruit from the tree that the Most High God forbade. The serpent's plan was that the fruit God so adamantly forbade was capable of remaking him the God. After biting into the forbidden fruit, Eve's eyes were opened, and she came to know good and evil. Eve then convinces her husband, Adam, to also eat, thereby opening his eyes as well. When God discovered what the kind of covenant the serpent had done, Adam and Eve were banished from the garden. Adam and Eve knew that had superhuman strength and ability, and were known as men of renown. This early civilization, which included fallen angels, Nephilim, and humans, became increasingly wicked. After our wickedness reached the boiling point, God could no longer restrain his anger. So he alerts the right man and Noah that he has come to destroy the world with his flood. Noah found to begin straight away building the right boat so that he and his family would survive the earth's coming. What's more, Noah was told to bring 2 of every animal so that earth would be repopulated after the subside. The vast majority of angels, Nephilim, and mankind were killed in this flood, which lasted for 40 days. Before the waters subsided, Noah raised the raven from the water to discover whether dry land was yet feasible to survive. But it only flew back and forth. Next, Noah released the dove over the earth, and the bird returned with an olive branch, indicating to Noah that with the water subsiding, the ark would come to rest on a mountain named Ararat. Noah, after the descendants of Noah successfully repopulate the earth, they again lose God's favor. Instead of dispersing and filling every quarter of the planet, they concentrate in a land called Babylonia. The king of Babylon, Nimrod, invented to build a tower that was huge. This is the famous Tower of Babel. God, who is enraged by Nimrod's presumption and arrogance, takes matters into his own hands by confusing the language of Nimrod's people. The Babylonian original intent for humanity, because it caused humanity to finally split up and occupy the whole earth, and, most importantly, not reach heaven. Although Bible stories are the most well known, especially in the West, they are not the first, and they are not unique.
Never know how much I love you, never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me a fever. When you kiss me,
humanity's relationship with the serpent is indeed a strange one. The nature of the reptile is alien to our own, so humans have a natural aversion to reptiles. Humans are characterized by both the
Sun
cold-blooded way
lights
of
up
the
the
reptile
daytime.
and compassionate sympathies
Moon
that
lights
violate our
up
sense of
the
self-preservation. It seems that death
I
from a
light up when you
merciless
call my
but
name,
if a human
and
were forced
you
to
know
choose
I'm
between
gonna
the death of a
treat you
reptile
right. You give
and
me
the death of a mammal,
fever
he or she would most probably consign
when
that
you
person to
kiss
death
me,
rather than
fever
the life
when
of a
you
butterfly.
hold me tight.
So it's quite curious that humans
Fever
for so many thousands of
in the
years
morning,
revered this person and
fever all
frequently
through
associated
the
it
night.
with the gods. There's hardly a single
Everybody
orange
got the fever.
local
That
population
is
not
something
associated
you
with gods,
all know.
serpents, and dragons.
Fever isn't such a
In the
new
Bible,
thing.
the
Fever
serpent is
started
often
long
spoke of as
ago.
the enemy of God. And in one case, the Bible refers to Satan as that old serpent. Even though the whole of the Bible identifies the serpent with evil,
Romeo
even
loved
Jesus
Juliet.
was heard saying, "Be as harmless
Juliet,
as
she
doves,
felt
and as
the
wise
same.
as serpents." The
When
problem
he
with this
put his
statement
arms
taken literally
around her,
is that
he
reptiles
said,
aren't
Julie,
exactly the
baby,
geniuses
you're
of
my
animals.
friend. I'll give it fever.
Warm-blooded animals are, on the average, more
When
intelligent
you
than
kiss it,
reptiles.
fever without
Considering the serpent to
blaming
be
you.
a creature of wisdom is an interesting
Fever.
choice, considering that the
I'm a
serpent is
fire.
mostly instinctual.
Fever, yeah, I burn for
Egypt, a civilization dating back to 2500 BC, allegedly, also has a pantheon of gods associated with the serpent. In fact, it
Captain
is nearly
Smith and
unheard of for an
Pocahontas
Egyptian god to be depicted
had a
without a
very
serpent.
mad affair.
Even the pharaohs of Egypt wore a
When her
Uranus.
daddy tried to
The
kill him,
Uranus was a
she
serpent,
said, Daddy,
symbolized
oh,
the immortal.
don't you dare give me
Gods of Greek
fever.
mythology are likewise associated and often depicted
With his
with snakes.
kisses, fever when he
Meanwhile, here in
holds
the
me
New World,
tight.
the mythologies of the Mayans,
Fever.
Aztecs, Incas,
I'm his
and Native
missus.
Americans is replete
Daddy,
with
won't you
serpent symbols.
treat him right?
Hinduism, the
Now
prevailing
you've
religion of
listened
India,
to my
is yet another
story.
religion whose gods are
Here's the
consistently
point that I have made.
associated. In China,
Chicks
the
were
whole
born
of
to
Europe,
give
the
you
immortal
fever.
gods are connected
Be
to
it
or
Fahrenheit or
described as
centigrade, to give you
In Islam,
fever.
the serpent is associated with Satan.
When you kiss
In
them,
Voodoo,
fever if
the
you
gods are
really
again
love.
associated with serpents.
Fever.
Reptile gods are seen as
Till
far
you
east
sizzle.
as the Pacific Islands.
What a lovely
No matter
way
what
to
place
burn.
or age we examine,
What a
serpents
lovely
provide a
way to
central
burn.
theme in that region's
What a
mythological
lovely
tale.
way to
Serpents are also repeatedly associated with
What a
villains.
lovely way to burn.
What?
Even more frequently, themes of
Des
serpents
yeux
being
qui
gods
font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sous sa bouche. Voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel j'appartiens.
Most people who are even remotely
Quand
familiar
il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. Et lui, pour moi, pour lui dans la vie, il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. Des nuits d'amour un grand bonheur prend sa place. Des ennuis, des chagrins s'effacent, heureux, sans mourir. Quand il me prend dans ses bras,
the benevolent god
il me
Tiamat
parle tout bas,
was a man who
je vois la vie en rose.
Tiamat
Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause.
story of lone man, together with the Creator, fashioned the earth and humanity. Lone man is very much a sacred thing, enters the world of man because he saw the humanity One day a virgin girl was even seen. The lone man transformed himself into a kernel. The virgin's parents considered the pregnancy holy, and the child, who was in fact a lone man reincarnated, was perfect in all his ways. After growing into a lone man, the day came for an annual trip by boat, where lone man assisted the boat sail.
Je ne sais pas ce qui m'arrive ce soir. Je te regarde comme pour la première fois. Je ne sais plus comment te dire. Mais tu as cette belle histoire d'amour que je ne cesserai jamais de lire. Tu es d'hier et de demain. De toujours, ma seule vérité.
Mais c'est fini, le temps de rêve. Les souvenirs se fanent aussi quand on les oublie.
Tu es comme le vent qui fait chanter le violon et emporte au loin le parfum des roses.
Caramel, bonbon et chocolat.
Par moments, je ne te comprends pas.
Merci pas pour moi, mais tu peux bien les offrir à une autre qui aime le vent et le parfum des roses.
I need to reset my graphics and compute, maybe even restart the computer because this lag is ridiculous.
Une parole encore. Écoute-moi. Je t'en prie. Je te jure.
Tu sais mon mot.
Voilà mon destin. Te parler comme la première fois.
Encore des mots, toujours des mots, les mêmes mots.
Comme j'aimerais que tu me comprennes.
Rien que des mots.
Que tu m'écoutes au moins une fois.
Des mots magiques, des mots tactiles qui sont faux.
Tu es mon rêve défendu. Mon seul tourment et mon unique espérance.
Rien ne t'arrête comme tu commences. Si tu savais comme j'ai envie d'un peu de silence.
Tu es pour moi la seule musique qui fait danser les étoiles sur les dunes.
Caramel, bonbon et chocolat.
Si tu n'existais pas déjà, je t'inventerais.
Merci pas pour moi, mais tu peux bien les offrir à une autre qui aime les étoiles sur les dunes. Moi, les mots tendres enrobés de douceur se posent sur ma bouche, mais jamais sur mon cœur.
Encore un mot, juste une parole.
Parole, parole, parole.
Écoute-moi.
Yeah. Need to restart the computer.